The wind was dry and strong on the red dust planet called Mara 4. The sun was large and hot in the sky. The land was full of sharp rocks, low hills, and broken machines from old times. Only a few people lived there. Most were workers and miners who searched for rare stones under the hard ground. One of them was a human man named Ravi. He was tall, with dark hair and calm eyes. He worked alone most of the time, fixing machines and gathering tools for the miners. He was not a soldier or a leader. But he was strong and clever. People in the mining camp trusted him. That day, Ravi had walked far from the camp to collect metal parts from an old machine that had stopped working many years ago. He filled his bag and started walking back. The sun was almost down, and the sky turned orange. He heard a strange sound. It was not wind. It was something else. Ravi stopped and listened. He heard voices. He heard shouts. He heard something that sounded like fire. He hid behind a large stone and looked down toward a small valley. There, he saw smoke and lights. He saw a small group of raiders attacking a group of travelers. The raiders had fast bikes and loud weapons. The travelers looked afraid. Most of them ran in different directions. But one figure did not run. One figure stood and fought. It was a young woman, but not human. Her skin was light blue like clear water. Her hair was black and long. Her eyes were bright silver. She wore armor made of dark metal and a symbol was painted on her shoulder. She held a long spear with glowing edges. She moved fast and sharp. She struck the raiders with great skill. She was not afraid. Ravi was surprised. He had never seen someone like her before. He had seen alien traders in the past, but this one was different. She was a warrior. Still, the raiders were many. She was only one. She fought well, but soon she was hurt. Her leg was bleeding. She still stood. She still fought. But she was tired. Her body shook. Her arm slowed. Ravi made a choice. He could run back to camp. Or he could help her. He chose to help. He picked up a heavy metal bar from the ground. He ran down the hill and shouted loud. The raiders turned to look. They were confused. A human had joined the fight. Ravi hit one of them on the back and the man fell. The alien warrior used that moment to strike another raider. The two of them fought together. Step by step, they pushed the raiders back. At last, the raiders fled. They left their broken bikes and ran away into the dark. Silence filled the valley. Ravi dropped the metal bar. His hands were shaking. He looked at the alien warrior. She was sitting on a rock. Her leg was bleeding more. She looked at him with surprise in her silver eyes. "You helped me," she said in a soft voice. Her voice was clear, but her words were slow. She spoke the human language, but not perfectly. Ravi nodded. "Yes. You were alone. I could not walk away." She looked down and touched the symbol on her shoulder. "I am Neera," she said. "I am Ravi," he answered. He took a small cloth from his bag and wrapped it around her leg. She winced but did not complain. He used water to clean the wound. She watched him work. He was careful and kind. "Where are your people?" he asked. "I was with others," she said. "They are gone now. I do not know where." Ravi helped her stand. She was weak. He let her lean on his shoulder. "Come," he said. "I will take you to the camp. You can rest there. It is safe." They walked slowly under the red sky. The camp was not far, but the path was rocky. Ravi stayed quiet. He did not ask too many questions. He knew she was tired. Neera also stayed quiet. But inside, her mind was full of thoughts. She did not tell him that the symbol on her shoulder was very old. She did not tell him that it belonged to a royal family on a distant world. She did not tell him that she had no memory of her early years. She did not tell him that she had been searching for something, or someone, for many years. They reached the camp just after nightfall. The lights from the camp were soft and yellow. The miners were surprised to see Ravi return with an alien warrior. Some were afraid. But Ravi told them she had saved lives and fought against the raiders. That was enough. They gave her a small tent and warm water. They gave her clean food and a soft bed. That night, Ravi sat outside her tent. He looked at the stars. He wondered who she really was. He wondered why she fought so hard. He wondered why she was alone. Inside the tent, Neera lay on the bed. She stared at the ceiling. She thought of her dreams. She saw a great palace made of silver stone. She saw a tall woman with kind eyes. She saw herself as a child, holding that woman's hand. Then she saw fire. She saw darkness. She saw herself running. She saw nothing more. She did not know if the woman was real. She did not know if the palace was real. But her heart told her something important had been lost long ago. And now she had met a human who was not like others. He was not loud. He was not cruel. He was calm. He was brave. He was kind. She closed her eyes and whispered to herself, "Why does this feel different?" Far away, on another world, a queen sat in a high tower. Her name was Zaira. She was the ruler of a great alien empire. She looked at the stars every night. She thought of her lost daughter. She had not seen her since the war many years ago. Some said the child was gone forever. But Zaira never stopped searching. She did not know that her daughter had survived. She did not know that her daughter now had a name called Neera. She did not know that Neera had just met a human named Ravi. The stars above the world of Luthera shone like silver drops on a dark ocean. The palace of the alien queen, Zaira, stood high on a hill of crystal stone. Its towers were tall and sharp, its walls glowing softly with green light. The palace was full of life, with servants, guards, and advisors moving through its wide halls. Yet for the queen herself, the palace felt heavy and silent. Zaira sat alone in the grand chamber. Her crown rested beside her on a carved table. Her long robe touched the floor. Her face was calm, but her eyes told another story. They were eyes that carried grief. They were eyes that had not known peace for many years. The queen had ruled for decades. She had led her people through wars and storms. She was respected and feared across many stars. But in her heart, one wound never healed. Long ago, during a violent conflict, she had lost her daughter. The child had vanished in the chaos of a raid. Some said she was taken. Some said she was gone. The queen had searched and searched, but no sign was ever found. Her council had told her many times to let go. They said the empire needed her strength, not her sorrow. They said her daughter could not be alive after so many years. Still, Zaira's heart refused to accept it. A mother's bond could not be broken so easily. Every night she stood by her window and looked to the stars, hoping that somewhere, somehow, her daughter still lived. This night was no different. She stood by the tall window, her silver hair glowing in the moonlight. Her advisor, a tall alien with green skin named Kiro, entered the room. He bowed with respect before speaking. "My queen," he said, "the council gathers tomorrow. They will ask again for stronger fleets near the human borders. They fear the humans may grow bold." Zaira did not turn at once. Her eyes stayed on the stars. Then she spoke slowly. "The humans fight hard, yes, but they are not our greatest danger. Our true danger is losing who we are. Power without heart is hollow." Kiro hesitated. He cared for his queen but feared her sorrow weakened her. "The council whispers that your thoughts are divided. They say you still cling to the past." At this, Zaira turned. Her gaze was sharp, and Kiro lowered his eyes. She stepped closer and placed her hand on the table, where a small golden pendant lay. It was shaped like a star with a crystal in the middle. "This belonged to my daughter," she said quietly. "Do you think I can forget her? Do you think I can rule as if she never lived?" Kiro stayed silent. Zero lifted the pendant and held it near her heart. Her voice grew softer. "I dream of her, Kiro. I dream of her walking through halls of light. I dream of her voice. I dream of her eyes. Somewhere she is still alive. I feel it." Kiro wanted to argue, but he could not. The fire in her eyes silenced him. He bowed again and left the chamber. The queen walked back to the window. She closed her eyes. In her mind, she saw her daughter as she had last seen her, small, bright, laughing. The memory was sharp, then it broke into pain. She pressed the pendant tight in her hand. Far away, on Mara 4, her daughter, now grown into Nero, was resting in a miner's camp. She had no memory of her mother's face. But the bond between them was still alive, hidden deep inside her heart. The next day, the council chamber was filled. 12 high advisors sat in a circle, their robes rich with symbols of power. They spoke one after another about ships, weapons, and borders. They spoke of humans with fear and suspicion. "The humans spread too fast," one advisor said. "They mine worlds without care. Soon they will challenge us." "We must strike first," said another. "We must show strength." Zero listened, her face calm. When they finished, she rose. Her tall figure made the room silent. "You speak of humans as if they are only enemies," she said. "But I have seen humans who show courage, who show loyalty. They are not only destroyers. They are also builders. Do not let fear blind you." The advisors shifted uneasily. Some frowned. "We must not forget," Zara continued, "that long ago we too were called dangerous by others. Yet here we are, rulers of many stars. Would you wish others had crushed us before we grew?" The chamber grew quiet. No one wished to answer. Finally, one elder advisor cleared his throat. "My queen, your heart is kind, but our duty is safety. We must prepare." Zara gave a slow nod. "Prepare, yes. But do not lose wisdom. Fear without reason is a chain. It will bind us and drag us into darkness." The council ended with no clear answer. The advisors left, whispering among themselves. Some admired their queen's words. Others feared she had grown weak. Later, alone again, Zara opened a secret drawer in her table. Inside was a small map of stars with marks across many worlds. Each mark was a place where she had ordered scouts to search for her daughter. For years she had done this in secret. The council thought she had given up. But she never had. Her hand hovered over one of the marks. The latest report spoke of raiders on a dusty mining world. Among the words was a strange note: a young alien warrior had been seen, fighting with skill beyond her age. She carried a crest unknown to most, but described in detail. Zara read it again and again. The description matched the symbol of her royal line. Her heart raced. Could it be? Could her daughter have survived? She closed her eyes and whispered, "If it is her, I will find her. I will not stop." That night, while the palace slept, the queen made a quiet choice. She would not wait for reports. She would not trust only scouts. She herself would travel to the frontier. She would see with her own eyes. Zara walked to the balcony and looked once more at the stars. She felt a strange energy in the air, as if the universe itself was guiding her. Somewhere out there, her daughter lived. Somewhere out there, her daughter fought and survived. And soon, Zara would find her. The camp on Mara 4 slowly grew used to the strange guest. At first, the miners looked at Nero with wide eyes. They had never lived so close to an alien warrior before. Some whispered that she would bring trouble. Others believed she had saved their lives by fighting off the raiders. In the end, it was Ravi who made them calm. He told them Neera was not their enemy, but a friend who had stood beside him in battle. Neera stayed in the camp as her wound healed. She was quiet most of the time, but her silver eyes studied everything around her. She watched the way humans built their shelters from broken metal and old wood. She watched the miners work with rough tools, singing songs to make the hard hours pass. She watched children run between the tents, laughing even in the dust and heat. For Neera, it was strange. Her people lived in great cities of crystal and steel. They followed strict rules and traditions. Here, life looked simple but free. She did not fully understand it, but she felt something inside her stir. Ravi spent more time with her each day. He showed her the machines he fixed and explained how they worked. Neera listened carefully. Though her people used advanced technology, she was surprised at the clever ways humans used scraps and broken parts to make new things. "You humans do not throw anything away," she said once with a small smile. Ravi laughed. "Because nothing here is easy to find. We use what we have. It is our way." One evening, as the red sun sank low, Ravi found Neera outside the camp. She was holding her spear, practicing slow movements. The blade glowed softly in the dusk. Her steps were graceful, like a dance. "You fight like a river," Ravi said, watching. "Fast and strong." Neera paused. She looked at him with a curious expression. "And you fight like a rock. Solid. Heavy. But unbroken." Ravi chuckled. "That is not such a bad mix, is it?" She shook her head. "No. It is not." Over the next days, they trained together. Neera showed him how to move lightly, how to strike with speed, how to listen for the rhythm of an opponent's breath. Ravi, though slower, learned quickly. He was patient, and he did not give up. In return, Ravi taught her human tricks of survival. He showed her how to find water in dry ground, how to set traps for small animals, how to build fire with only stones and wood. Neera was surprised at how useful these simple skills were. "Your people do not need such tricks?" Ravi asked once. "In our cities," Neera answered, "everything is given. Food, water, warmth. Few learn to survive with only their hands." She looked at him with respect. "But you humans know how to live even when the world is against you. That is strength too." Their bond grew stronger with each passing day. The miners began to notice. They saw how the two often walked side by side, talking in low voices. They saw how Neera trusted Ravi more than anyone else. Some whispered that the human and the alien warrior had become a team unlike any other. But not all were pleased. One miner, a man named Taran, spoke with anger. "She will bring more raiders," he warned. "She is not one of us. Why do we let her stay?" Ravi answered calmly. "She fought for us. She saved us. That is enough for me." Taran shook his head. "You trust too easily, Ravi. One day you will regret it." Ravi did not reply, but inside he knew the risk. Yet something in Neera's eyes told him she was not a threat. She carried a pain she did not speak of, a past she did not share. He could sense it when she sat alone at night, staring at the stars as if they called to her. One night, Ravi brought her a piece of old cloth with patterns stitched on it. "My mother made this when I was young," he said. "She is gone now, but I keep it. For luck." Neera touched the cloth gently. "It is beautiful," she said. "It is simple," Ravi replied. "But it reminds me of where I come from." Neera held it close for a moment. Her voice grew soft. "I wish I knew where I came from. My early years are shadows. I remember little. Only flashes. A voice. A place. A light. Then nothing. Ravi looked at her with care. Maybe one day you will remember. Until then, you are not alone. You have me. For a moment, their eyes met, and silence filled the air. Neera felt warmth she had not felt in many years. She nodded slowly. Yes. I have you. The next morning, trouble returned. A group of mercenaries, hired by traders, attacked the camp. They wanted the miners' stones and supplies. The miners tried to defend themselves, but they were not soldiers. Ravi and Neera stood together at the front. Neera spun her spear, moving like lightning. Ravi used a heavy tool as a weapon, striking with power. Side by side, they fought, each covering the other. The miners watched in awe as the human and alien moved as one. After the mercenaries fled, the camp cheered. The miners now saw clearly that Neera was no danger but a protector. Even Taran bowed his head in respect. That night, as the camp celebrated, Ravi sat with Neera near the fire. She leaned on her spear, breathing slowly. He handed her a cup of water. You fought like fire today, he said. And you fought like stone, she replied with a faint smile. They both laughed softly. The fire crackled between them. Yet even in that moment of peace, Neera felt something stir inside. The fight had awakened memories she could not control. She saw flashes of armor with the same crest as hers. She saw halls of light, shining like crystal. She heard a voice calling her name, full of love and sorrow. She shook her head and pressed her hand to her temple. Ravi noticed. Are you all right? He asked. Neera breathed slowly. I do not know. My past, it comes to me in pieces. Like broken glass. Ravi put a steady hand on her shoulder. Then we will face it together. Whatever it is, you are not alone. Neera looked at him. For the first time in years, she felt not just like a warrior, but like someone who belonged. High above, the stars shone silently. Somewhere among them, Queen Zara searched still, her heart bound to the child she had lost. Soon their paths would draw closer. But for now, on a dusty world, a bond between human and alien grew stronger with each passing day. The days on Mara 4 passed slowly, each one filled with hard work and watchful eyes. The miners rebuilt broken walls and dug deeper into the ground. Ravi repaired machines and trained others to use tools for defense. Neera, though still healing, joined them in their tasks. Her strength returned quickly, and soon she was once again the warrior who had stunned them all. At night, the camp grew quiet. Fires burned low, and the people gathered around to share stories. Ravi told tales of earth, of green fields, rivers, and blue skies. The miners listened with longing, for Mara 4's red dust offered none of those things. Neera listened too, her silver eyes reflecting the firelight. She had never seen Earth, yet the way Ravi spoke of it filled her heart with a strange warmth. But while the camp seemed calm, danger always lingered in the dark. Raiders and mercenaries moved across the frontier. Some searched for wealth, others for power. And there were spies too, hidden in shadows, selling news to the highest bidder. One night, while Neera trained alone outside the camp, a stranger watched her from a distance. He was not a miner. His clothes were clean, his eyes sharp, his steps careful. He studied her movements, her armor, and most of all, the crest on her shoulder. It glowed faintly under the moonlight, a mark few would recognize. The stranger's lips curled into a thin smile. This will be worth much, he whispered, before slipping back into the dark. The next day, he sent a coded message across the stars. The message carried details of the warrior with silver eyes, the human who stood by her side, and the symbol on her armor. The signal traveled far, reaching the palace of Queen Zara herself. When the queen read the report, her heart froze. The description of the crest was too exact. It was the royal crest, the very one her daughter had carried when she was taken. Zahra trembled as she read the words again and again. Could this warrior on a forgotten world truly be her child? Meanwhile, on Mara 4, Nira struggled with her own mind. Each day brought sharper memories. She saw flashes of light, tall towers of crystal, and hands reaching for her. She heard a voice calling her name, gentle yet full of command. Sometimes the memories came during battle, sometimes in dreams. She never told Ravi everything, but he could see the weight in her eyes. One evening, Ravi found her sitting near the edge of the valley. She was sharpening her spear, though it needed no sharpening. Her movements were restless. "You are far away," he said softly as he sat beside her. Nira did not look at him at first. Then she sighed. "I see things. Pieces of a life I do not remember. A palace. A woman's face. I think she was my mother. But then it fades." Ravi listened in silence. He knew she carried pain she could not put into words. After a moment, he asked, "Do you think you will find her again?" Her silver eyes lifted to the stars. "I do not know. But I feel she is out there. Somewhere." Ravi placed a hand on the ground beside her. "Then we will find her, if that is your path." Nira turned to him. "We?" "Yes," he said simply. "You are not alone anymore." Her lips curved in the faintest smile. For a moment, the weight on her chest felt lighter. Days later, trouble returned once more. A band of mercenaries stormed the camp at dawn, shouting for surrender. They carried heavy weapons and wore armor with strange markings. Ravi and the miners prepared to fight, but Nira stood at the front, her spear blazing with light. The battle was fierce. Dust filled the air as weapons clashed. Ravi fought at her side, steady as a wall, while Nira struck like lightning. The miners followed their lead, driving the mercenaries back step by step. During the fight, one mercenary's mask broke, revealing the face of the stranger who had spied on Nira. He stared at her with wide eyes. "It is true," he gasped. "The lost princess lives?" Nira froze for a heartbeat. The words hit her like a blade. "Lost princess?" Ravi struck the man down before he could speak more, but the damage was done. Nira's hands shook as she fought on. The words echoed in her mind. When the mercenaries finally fled, leaving their dead behind, Ravi turned to Nira. She stood still, her spear lowered, her eyes distant. "What did he mean?" Ravi asked carefully. Nira's voice was low. "I do not know. But I must find out." That night, Nira dreamed again. This time the vision was clear. She was small, standing in a hall of crystal light. A tall woman bent down, her silver hair shining. She placed a pendant around Nira's neck, shaped like a star. "You are my daughter," the woman whispered. "You are my hope." Nira woke with a start, her chest rising and falling. She touched her shoulder where the crest lay. Could it be true? Was she truly more than a warrior? Ravi noticed her silence the next morning. As they walked through the camp, he asked, "Will you tell me what you saw?" She hesitated, then nodded. "I think I was born to someone important. A queen, maybe. I do not remember clearly, but her face feels real. The mercenary called me a princess." Ravi studied her. "If that is true, then your life is far greater than you thought. But does it change who you are now?" Nira looked at him firmly. "I am still me. I am still the warrior you fought beside. I will not let titles change that." Ravi smiled. "Then that is enough for me." But deep inside, Nira knew the truth could not be ignored. If her mother was truly a queen, then her past was not just her own. It was tied to an entire empire. Far away, Queen Zahra prepared to leave her palace. She could no longer wait for reports. She would travel to the frontier herself, to see if the warrior with silver eyes was truly her daughter. The stars between them grew smaller. Mother and daughter were being drawn closer by fate. And beside Nira, Ravi walked without fear, ready to face whatever truths the future would bring. The night sky above Mara 4 glowed with countless stars. The campfires burned low as the miners slept, their bodies tired from another long day of work. Ravi sat awake near the edge of the valley, his hands busy repairing a broken tool. Beside him, Nira stood silently with her spear, her eyes fixed on the heavens. She could not rest. The mercenaries' words still echoed in her mind. The lost princess' lives. Each time she closed her eyes, the vision of the tall woman with silver hair returned. She could hear the voice, soft and filled with love, calling her name. At last she turned to Ravi. If the mercenary spoke truth, then my life is not my own. It belongs to a story greater than I imagined. Ravi put down the tool and looked at her. His voice was calm. No matter your past, you are still Nira. You are still the warrior who stood with us. That will never change. She studied him for a long moment. His words steadied her heart. Yet deep inside, a storm of questions still raged. Far across the stars, Queen Zaira's ship moved quietly through space. Unlike the great fleets of her empire, this ship was small and swift, made for secret travel. She had taken only a handful of loyal guards. She had told no one else of her journey, not even the full council. Zaira stood on the deck, her hands resting on the railing as she watched the stars slip past. Each passing moment filled her with both hope and fear. Could it truly be her daughter? After so many years, could fate be kind at last? Or was it only a trick, another false trail to break her heart again? Her guard captain, a tall warrior named Aaron, stepped forward. My queen, we will reach Mara 4 soon. But I must ask, what will you do if the warrior is not who you believe? Zaira's silver eyes hardened. I will know the truth the moment I see her. A mother always knows. The ship glided on, silent and unseen. Back on Mara 4, dawn came with the sky painted in red and gold. The miners rose to their work, but the air felt tense. Rumors of more mercenaries nearby had spread. Ravi and Nira prepared patrols, ready to defend the camp again if needed. It was during one of these patrols that they saw it. A shadow crossed the sky, larger than any raider craft. A sleek ship descended slowly toward the valley, its engines humming like a low song. The miners ran in fear, unsure if it was friend or foe. Ravi narrowed his eyes. That is no raider ship. Too clean. Too strong. Nira's breath caught in her chest. Something about the ship felt familiar, though she could not explain why. The vessel landed on the flat ground beyond the camp. Its ramp lowered, and from the light inside stepped figures in shining armor. At their center walked a tall woman with silver hair that flowed like water. Her robe shimmered, and her crown gleamed with crystal. Nira froze. The sight struck her like lightning. This was the woman from her dreams. Queen Zaira stopped at the base of the ramp. Her guards fanned out around her, but her eyes searched only for one face. Then she saw her. The young warrior with silver eyes, standing beside a human. Her voice trembled though she spoke with strength. Nira. The sound of her name from the queen's lips shook Nira's heart. Memories flashed again: childhood laughter, gentle hands, the warmth of a mother's embrace. Ravi looked at Nira in surprise. She knows you. Nira's grip on her spear loosened. Slowly, she stepped forward. Her eyes locked with the queen's. Who are you? Zaira's lips parted, her voice soft. I am Zaira, queen of Luthera. And you are my daughter. Lost to me long ago. Gasps rose from the miners who watched from a distance. Ravi felt his chest tighten. He had suspected something like this, but hearing it spoken aloud made it real. Nira shook her head, Overwhelmed. I do not remember. I only see pieces. Dreams. Zara stepped closer, her hand outstretched. You were taken from me during the war. I searched every corner of the stars, but you were gone. I feared the worst. Yet here you stand before me, alive. Tears welled in her silver eyes. I have found you, Nira. Nira's heart pounded. A deep part of her wanted to run into her mother's arms. Another part held back, bound by the life she had built, by the human who stood at her side. Ravi watched quietly, saying nothing. He knew this moment was not his to shape. It belonged to Nira alone. Finally, Nira whispered, "If I am your daughter, then why was I left to wander? Why did no one come for me?" Pain crossed the queen's face. I never stopped searching. You were lost in the fire of battle, hidden from every eye. I sent scouts across countless worlds. Every report brought hope and then despair. Until now. Nira lowered her gaze. She wanted to believe, yet doubt still pulled at her. She turned to Ravi, whose steady eyes gave her strength. He nodded once, as if to say, "Follow your heart." Slowly, Nira stepped closer to the queen. Zara's hands trembled as she lifted them, touching her daughter's face gently. The moment their skin met, a flood of memory surged through Nira, her mother's laughter, her soft voice, the pendant shaped like a star. Tears ran down Nira's cheeks. She whispered, "Mother." Zara pulled her into an embrace, holding her as if she would never let go again. The miners looked on in silence, moved by the sight of reunion. Even Ravi felt warmth in his chest, though he knew the bond between mother and daughter was something beyond his reach. But the moment of peace did not last. From the queen's ship, Aaron stepped forward with a stern look. He bowed slightly to Nira, but his words were hard. "Princess, you must return with us at once. The Empire has long awaited your return. Your place is not here among miners and humans." The miners murmured uneasily. Ravi stiffened, his hand brushing the handle of his tool. Nira looked back at Ravi, then at her mother. Confusion filled her heart. She had found her past, but her present was bound to the life she had built here. Zara noticed the struggle in her daughter's eyes. She turned to Aaron with quiet command. "Give her time. She has walked a hard path. She will not be forced." Aaron bowed, though reluctance showed on his face. Nira stepped back, her voice strong. "I am glad to know the truth. But I will not abandon the one who stood with me when I had no one. I will not leave Ravi." Zara studied her daughter's face. For the first time in years, hope filled her heart, not only because she had found her child, but because her daughter had grown into a warrior of courage and loyalty. "I will not ask you to choose today," the queen said gently. "But know this, Nira, you are both my daughter and a warrior who belongs to two worlds now." The stars above shone brighter, as if they too bore witness to the truth revealed. A queen had found her lost child. A daughter had found her past. And a bond between human and alien stood unbroken. The morning sun rose slowly over Marafor, turning the red dust into glowing gold. The camp was quiet, but tension lingered in the air. News of Queen Zara's arrival had spread quickly, and whispers traveled among the miners. Some were nervous, unsure if the queen would take Nira away. Others were curious to see the reunion between mother and daughter. Nira sat near a fire, her silver eyes fixed on the rising sun. Her mind was filled with thoughts she could not easily untangle. She had finally found her mother, but her life with Ravi and the miners had given her a sense of belonging she had never known before. Both worlds called to her now. Both demanded her loyalty. Ravi approached quietly, holding a cup of water. He sat beside her without speaking, knowing that she needed time to think. Nira accepted the cup and took a slow drink, feeling its coolness settle her nerves. "I do not know what to do," she said finally. "The Empire expects me to return. My mother wants me with her. But I cannot forget those who have stood by me here. Ravi nodded. You do not have to choose alone. You are strong enough to make your own path. And whatever you decide, you are not alone. Her gaze met his, and she saw the truth in his eyes. He would not leave her. He would not force her to act against her heart. As if on cue, a ship descended from the sky, larger than Zahra's own vessel. From it, several armored figures emerged, bearing banners with the symbol of the council. They were officials from the empire, their presence commanding and cold. Zahra stepped forward, her posture regal, but her eyes guarded. They come to insist that Nira return to the capital immediately, she explained. The council does not understand patience. They care only for protocol. The council members approached, their voices sharp and demanding. Princess Nira, one said, you have been gone too long. Your absence is an insult to the empire. You must come with us. There is no question. Nira's silver eyes narrowed. I am not leaving immediately, she said firmly. I will decide my path, but I will not be forced. One council member scoffed. You are a child who knows nothing of duty. You will obey or face the consequences. Zahra's face tightened. She turned to her daughter. Do not be afraid. You are stronger than they believe. Nira drew a deep breath. I will not abandon the people who protected me, who became my family when I had none. They are part of who I am now. My loyalty is not only to the empire. It is to those who have stood with me. The council bristled at her words. That is insubordination, one said. You risk dishonor. Nira lifted her head, her voice clear and unwavering. I do not fear dishonor when it comes from doing what is right. I will not leave those who trusted me. Ravi stepped closer to her side, his presence steady. She speaks the truth, he said. Nira saved lives here. She earned our respect. That matters more than protocol. Zahra studied her daughter, pride filling her heart. Nira's courage and loyalty were evident. The bond she had built with humans was real. And yet, Zahra knew the council would not accept this easily. One council member raised his hand, summoning guards. Then you leave us no choice. We must enforce the law. Before they could act, Nira raised her spear. Its edge glowed faintly in the sun. She did not attack lightly, but her stance was firm. I will defend those who cannot defend themselves. I will not let fear or authority decide for me. The council members paused, realizing they faced a warrior unlike any they had expected. Nira's presence, combined with her strength and confidence, gave her an authority they could not ignore. Zahra stepped forward. Enough, she said. Her voice rang through the air, carrying both command and love. This is my daughter. She will choose her own path. Those who do not respect her choice may leave now. The council members hesitated, exchanging glances. Some bowed in respect, others in frustration. One by one, they turned and returned to their ship, leaving only Zahra, Nira, and their loyal guards. Silence fell over the valley. The miners watched in awe. Ravi exhaled, relief flooding him. Nira lowered her spear, the tension leaving her shoulders. Zahra approached her daughter and placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. You have chosen well, she said softly. Your heart is strong, and your mind is clear. I am proud of you. Nira looked at her mother, her voice steady. I will return with you when the time is right. But first, I must ensure my people here are safe. I will not abandon them. Zahra smiled. Then we will wait. Together, we will make a plan. You do not have to face this alone. Ravi nodded beside her. I will stand with you, as always. Nira felt a sense of peace. She had faced her past, stood against authority, and defended those she cared for. She realized that her strength did not come only from her heritage as a princess or from her training as a warrior. It came from the bonds she had built, the trust she had earned, and the choices she made with courage. Over the next few days, Nira trained with both her mother's guards and the miners. She shared knowledge of tactics and survival skills. She moved with grace, teaching others to fight with strategy and care rather than fear. Ravi stayed by her side, learning from her and guiding her when she needed counsel. At night, Nira would sit by the fires with Ravi and the miners, listening to stories of Earth and other worlds. She spoke of the Empire, the Queen, and her past, though she left some details for later. Each day, the bond between human and alien deepened, strengthened by trust and mutual respect. High above, Queen Zero looked at her daughter with both love and admiration. She knew that the path ahead would not be easy. The council would not forget so quickly, and challenges would continue. Yet she also knew that Nira had the wisdom to face them. The warrior she had lost years ago had grown into a leader who could stand between two worlds with courage. The morning sun rose over Mara 4, spilling gold and orange across the red dust of the valley. The camp was alive with movement. Miners worked side by side, rebuilding walls and checking equipment. Children ran between tents, laughing as they played games in the open space. Nira walked among them, her silver eyes calm yet alert. Ravi followed her closely, carrying a pack filled with tools and supplies. He watched her carefully, noting how she interacted with everyone. She smiled and spoke with warmth, but there was still a warrior's sharpness in her gaze. She was both leader and protector, a combination that few could match. Queen Zara's ship hovered quietly above the valley, its engines silent but ready. Zara herself watched from the observation deck, a mixture of pride and concern in her eyes. Her daughter had grown strong and wise, yet she knew that the frontier was not a safe place. Challenges would continue, and Nira's choices would shape the future of both her people and those she had come to protect. A sudden alarm rang from the outskirts of the camp. Scouts had spotted movement beyond the hills, a small fleet of raiders heading straight for the valley. They were faster than usual, and their numbers were more organized. Nira felt a surge of determination. She turned to Ravi. "Get the miners ready. We defend this place together. No one leaves until I say." Ravi nodded, calling the workers to action. The miners scrambled, gathering makeshift weapons, reinforcing walls, and preparing traps. Nira moved with them, giving instructions and encouraging them. Her voice was firm but kind, and everyone followed without hesitation. The raiders appeared over the ridge, their ships glinting in the sun. They descended quickly, ready for battle. But Nira was ready. She stood on the highest point of the camp, her spear glowing faintly as it caught the morning light. "Hold your ground," she shouted. "Do not let them surprise you." Ravi stood beside her, his hands gripping a heavy tool he had modified for defense. "We fight together," he said simply. The raiders attacked with speed and force. Nira moved like lightning, striking down the first wave before they could reach the camp. Her movements were precise, flowing like water, every step and strike measured. Ravi fought beside her, using strength and strategy to protect the miners. Together, they formed a wall that no enemy could break. Queen Zara's guards joined the battle, flying down from the ship in protective suits. They worked with Nira seamlessly, following her lead. The raiders were strong, but they had not faced warriors united by trust and loyalty. Every attack was met with skill, every attempt to breach the camp repelled. During the fight, Nira noticed a raider captain wearing armor marked with a symbol from her own past, the same symbol she had seen in visions. Her heart raced. Could this be a clue to her missing years? She pushed the thought aside, focusing on the battle at hand. Ravi called to her. "We need to push them back to the ridge." Nira nodded, signaling the Queen's guards. Together, they drove the raiders upward, forcing them to retreat. Dust and smoke filled the air, and the sound of clashing weapons echoed across the valley. Finally, the raiders broke. Their ships lifted off, leaving the valley in silence. The miners cheered, rushing to embrace each other and their protectors. Nero lowered her spear, breathing heavily but feeling a sense of satisfaction. Ravi placed a hand on her shoulder. "You did it? We all did it?" Nero looked around at the camp, at the people she had fought for, at the friends she had made. She felt a warmth in her chest that went beyond victory. She had found a purpose, a home, and a family beyond the blood she had been born into. Zaira descended from her ship, moving through the camp with grace. She approached Nira and Ravi, her eyes filled with pride. "You have done well," she said softly. "I see now the strength you carry is more than royal blood. It is courage, wisdom, and loyalty." Nira bowed her head slightly, humbled. "I only did what I had to. This is my home too." The queen smiled. "Then let it be part of your path. You will have both worlds, Nira. You will be a bridge between the empire and those who live on the frontier. And you are not alone. Ravi and your friends will stand beside you always." Ravi met Nira's gaze, his expression steady and supportive. She felt gratitude for him, not just for his strength in battle, but for his trust and patience. Together, they had faced danger, and together they would face whatever came next. As the sun climbed higher, the camp settled into a rhythm once more. Miners repaired what was damaged, children played freely, and scouts watched the hills for further threats. Nira walked among them, her presence reassuring. She spoke with kindness, gave guidance, and offered encouragement. She was no longer only a warrior or a lost princess, she was a leader in the fullest sense. That evening, as the sky turned shades of purple and gold, Nira stood with her mother and Ravi at the edge of the valley. The wind carried the scent of dust and earth, and the stars began to appear in the darkening sky. Zaira placed a hand on her daughter's shoulder. "The empire will still call for you, but you have shown that your heart and wisdom guide you. I am proud of the warrior and the daughter you have become." Nira nodded. "I will honor both. I will protect those who need me and serve my people when it is right. And I will do it with those who stood by me." Ravi stepped closer, his hand brushing hers. "And I will be there, always." A calm settled over the valley. The challenges would continue, but Nira felt ready. She had faced danger, discovered her past, and made choices that defined her as more than a princess or a warrior. She was both, and she was free to shape her own destiny. High above, Queen Zaira watched the horizon. For the first time in many years, her heart felt light. She had found her daughter, she had seen her grow into a remarkable warrior, and she had witnessed the bond between human and alien that gave hope to both worlds. The stars above shone silently, bright and clear. On Mara 4, a new dawn had arrived, a dawn of courage, unity, and hope. Nira, Ravi, and Zaira stood together, ready to face the future as one. The valley was peaceful, the people safe, and the bonds they had formed would endure through any challenge that came.